Hey everybody, how you doing? Yep, all right. Welcome to the PHLY Flyers Postgame Show presented by Bet365. Download the Bet365 app and use code PHLY365 when you sign up. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Well, that was a hell of a first period for the Flyers. Couple of goals for Scott Laughton. I was correct in my assertion that for a third straight game, a Flyer would have 2 goals. Unfortunately, I told everyone to bet Owen Tippett. It was Scott Laughton with a pair tonight. Nice to see some offense out of that fourth line. Of course, I criticized the decision to start the fourth line tonight, and they were the best group by far. My name's Bill Matz, by the way. I'm your director of fun and games. Joining me for tonight's post game, once again, so nice we brought him back twice. It's Flyperbole himself, Steve Jaco. What's up, my friend?
What's going on, my friend? Glad to be here on the red eye, if you will. And at least they made it a fun game, because for a little bit it was looking like it was just going to be flat out depressing. And I did. We talked about this last time I was on. I did end up betting Owen Tippett for that goal. But I offset it. I bet the over as soon as I saw Ivan Fedotov was going to be in, and that paid off.
Well, that's the 3 wins that Seattle has had this year, all real high-scoring games. And then you factor in, okay, Ivan Fedotov's in there. The Flyers' offense showed up in the first and third, not so much in that second period. But yeah, I'm glad anyone who saw that total tonight, anywhere below like 10. This might be a thing moving forward for Ivan Fedotov games. We'll get to him in just a little bit. Honestly, you know what? Let's start with Fedotov, because he's probably the top topic tonight. Is the Flyers, 28-year-old, I guess, pseudo rookie. He doesn't count as a rookie in terms of Calder voting, but it's his first year. Not the best night. You see his stats there: 40 minutes, stopped 19 of 24 for a nice 792 save percentage. That might be higher than his season save percentage, but it might have gone up tonight. But listen, a couple of the goals late, the late goals he gave up in the second period were, the defense was nowhere to be found. It was horrific, but man, distance shots that look like they're just going to hit him, getting in the, I won't even call the rebound goal a rebound. It was a fumble. Like, 2
Flat
feet
out
on the ground possession, and now suddenly the puck just sitting on the side of the net to be cleaned up. Again, I am going to try to be optimistic about Ivan Fedotov. First 3 starts for Sam Ersson last year, he had like a 7-something save percentage, and he was able to figure it out. But there's not a lot to like about what Ivan Fedotov is doing to start this season, Steve.
His style is ugly. Like, whatever he's doing out there is ugly. The questions I was asking is like, why is he basically like goaltending from the back of the net out? Because that's insane. I've never seen that before. And the 5-hole issues are wild, because the first 2 goals were very easily stopped. They were 5-hole goals that like rookie goaltenders should be able to stop. And it's weird to say, he might be too tall. Like, he literally might be too tall.
I was thinking of I can't remember what quarterback it was, but there was like a breakdown of like everyone was drafting like big quarterbacks a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And then I can't remember who was doing the breakdown, but it was like 6'6" is actually as big as you should get. The guys who are 6'6" and over, they're actually too big. The amount of time it takes to like release the ball, it doesn't help them. And I'm watching Fedotov as those couple of 5-hole goals he gave up tonight. He's trying to look over traffic, which you think like, all right, yeah, he's almost 6'8". Like, he should be able to see over the traffic. But then you remember the puck is on the ice. And so he's got to see up and over and then down. And that's not giving him enough time to then react to get his gigantic body down to cover up the 5-hole. And on top of that, it was pointed out to me on Twitter tonight, like, his stick also isn't on the ice on these. So he's going down, he's not blocking the bottom, and by the time he gets there, the puck has already gotten under him. It's
rough. It's rough, and you can't really fix his height. I mean, you could try and fix mechanics, but like the guy's tall, and the time it takes for him to go downwards in that motion and go side to side. I mean, basically, like, because he's so tall, he's got to be in the net more to compensate for the speed it takes to go side to side. And at that point, I'd rather just have somebody who's small and fast.
Just have like, especially if you're going to play that style, like, but
yeah,
the depth issue is
either the coaching staff has to figure something out with him, or they got to move on, because through 2 games, it ain't working.
And you saw like that second period again. That's a great mug, by the way. Poor.
Thank you.
Jeez.
Thank you.
No, but
sorry, North Jersey.
Yeah, by the end of the second period, it looked like they were just, all right, this thing is out of hand and we're not winning this game. And then Ersson comes in and immediately it's like, oh, they are going to push back, because it very much felt like, all right, what are you going to do? It's getaway day. It's the end of the trip. We're trying to get home. Honestly, if they just saved their energy for Saturday, it might make everything better. But
it felt like that. It felt like they were giving up. They were packing their bags. They were on their way to the airport. And especially when the end of the second period happened and TK gets smashed against the boards and nobody does anything. Nobody does anything. And it's like, I think Ristolainen was on the ice at that point. And we've been over this with Ristolainen. That's just not the player he is. But yeah. I'm sorry, you're a hulking defenseman. If there's one situation where I want you to come in and start hulking out, that's it. And he didn't do anything. He just skated the bench whatever.
I know no one's going to criticize Mish for it, and we don't want him fighting.
No.
But two-hand the guy, dude.
Two-hand the guy like you did the Darnell Nurse.
The team has stuck up for Michkov a couple of times already that he should know what it is, but it was just disappointing all around.
Yeah.
The response there. But then Ersson comes in to start the third, and the team did have some fight left. Of course,
literally.
Eventually, TK. The fact that TK came back was a little surprising, and then he's fighting. All right.
I know. Sure. And I couldn't believe he came back, and then that he fought, and he was mad as hell. Like, you could see the fire in his eyes during that fight. Like, he needed to get that out.
It seems like he came back to fight. Like, that was
like, this guy's coming back to the bar to brawl.
No, somebody tweeted Charlie, like, it's like when your drunk friend gets kicked out and still finds his way back into the bar. Like, he came back to fight 100%. And he found a dance partner, and that was pretty much it.
Yeah, that was pretty much it. I mean, Seattle was playing rough too. Like, they were headhunting out there. Like, they wanted a piece. They wanted to take down the Flyers tonight. It was their home crowd. I totally understand it. Just real quick, as far as like the guy wanting to fight at the bar, it reminds me of a situation last year where I was at Pizza Boy near Harrisburg, and this guy actually like got kicked out of the bar because he was trying to fight somebody else. And then he called the bar like 5 minutes later and asked him to send the guy out to fight to the parking lot.
That's awesome.
It was awesome. I'm like,
that's cool as
hell. The bartender was in disbelief. He's like, wait, you want me to send him out to fight? I'm not doing that. Get out of here.
I'm not going to be an accessory to assault.
No. So TK was the guy calling the bars like, hey, come on, send him out to fight.
But just to wrap up Fedotov, you mentioned like how far back he's playing in the net, and I'm just looking at it as maybe it's a way to compensate for his reaction time, because he's just
that's
not
my understanding.
Reading. He is not reading fast enough. Again,
no, he's not catching up to the NHL game, and no. I do understand there's a difference between the KHL and the NHL, but like they showed his KHL numbers at the beginning of the game, and they're pretty respectable numbers. In the KHL, I mean, that's still a pretty good league. I mean, it's not the NHL, but it's pretty good. So, like, what the heck happened between last year? Is the speed that different, or is he just like, I don't know, is something wrong? Like, what's going on? They got to figure it out quick, though, because this isn't fair to Sam Ersson.
No, it isn't. And that, like, tonight was all about we're getting Sam Ersson a rest, so he's ready to go for Saturday. And so much of the offseason talk around Sam Ersson was, we just need to be able to play him normal so we can figure out what he is. And if this continues, we're going to be in last year's situation real quick.
Absolutely. Well, because then also, like, you look at the depth, it's like they got Kolosov, who's as untested and green as there is. And obviously Cal Peterson's not even an option. Like that guy shouldn't even be an AHL player. And who's the other guy? McNiemi? Like I know nothing about him.
To Makiniemi. I know how to pronounce his name, I think.
Not
Like,
Antiniemi.
Yeah, exactly. It's not that dude. It's another guy. It really is unfair. But his leash is probably going to be longer than 2 games.
They don't have much of a choice.
No, that said, if the rumor, semi-report, whatever you want to call it, is true, that Kolosov is going to make a decision by like Halloween on where he thinks he should spend the rest of this season.
Ooh, spooky.
Perhaps we should get him into a game or 2 just to see if he's a better option. Not even like, oh, this guy's the future. Just to see if he's a better option to play 1 out of every 3, 1 out of every 4.
It might be worth a shot, especially if Fedotov's willing to work out some of his mechanics down in Lehigh Valley, because like the thing is, like, nobody's going to claim him on waivers if you send him down. Like, that would be insanity.
It's like the Andrew McDonald contract in the Vegas expansion draft. Like, his contract is the protection. Is he waiver exempt? No. Is anyone especially with a 750 save percentage? Like, absolutely no one's. Colorado wouldn't claim him at this point.
Yeah, and Colorado's got plenty of issues in that area.
As bad as their goaltending is, it's I guess it's just something we have to wait out and see if he's able to work out. But if things continue in this way, I can see a contract termination conversation happening next off season as well. But this one may be mutual, with Fedotov going, you know what? I had it pretty nice in the KHL, but I am going to try my best to wait longer than, 5 periods of hockey before I totally turn on Fedotov, but it's getting late quick for him.
It's rough. It's just like, because he looks lost. Like, I've never seen a goaltender look lost in the way that Fedotov does. And I watched Cal Peterson last year. Like, he looks completely like he has no idea what's going on. He can't follow the puck. He can't follow the pace of play. And it sucks because I wanted this guy to work out. You got a 6'7" goaltender, 6'8" goaltender, whatever he is. Like, yeah, you want that guy to work out. You want your own Ben Bishop. But I don't know. So far, it is not even close to working out.
It's like you want to give him time, but like the things that he has to improve on are like his entire game. He has to become almost a different guy to see this working. Like what we've heard a little bit about Thatcher Demko, like, oh, with his injury now, he needs to like physically change the way he plays the position. Like, for Fedotov to have success, he needs to have some sort of tremendous transformation. Like, that's
perhaps we can shorten him. Maybe just take a little bit off the shin.
Just take a little bit off the top.
With, just a little bit off the top, bud. Come on. No problem.
All right. I want to talk about Scott Laughton next in the 4th line, because it was a good game for them, especially the start. But first, I got to tell you about the National Thoroughbred League. That's right. There's an event coming up at Parks Racing on Saturday, October 19th. I love the name. October Fast. What is it? It is a lineup of 5 National Thoroughbred races and Philadelphia's biggest day of racing outside the Pennsylvania Derby at Parks Racing. And not only is it a great day of racing, horses, all that fun stuff, it's hosted by Dr. J himself. Dr. J is co-owner of the Philadelphia Stallions, a team competing at Oktoberfest. It's going to be a great time. There's going to be meet and greets with a dozen Philadelphia sports legends, including Dr. J himself, as well as Brian Westbrook, Seth Joyner, and my guy, Freddie Mitchell's going to be there. There's a private beer garden with great brews on tap, a music stage with Philly legends and other performers, best in Philly food offerings, incredible art demonstrations, and a fan fashion show. So dress in your Derby best and strut your stuff in front of everybody. And of course, the most exciting day of racing anywhere this year. The NTL has 10 teams. There's the Philadelphia Stallions, the New York Knights, California Shamrocks, and a whole bunch of others. They're going to be facing off in 5 consecutive races. 3 hours as the stakes build and build. Doors open at noon, races start at 2:30, and we're partnering with the NTL to give diehards exclusive access to this event. Just show your email subscription at the gates for free admission. For more information, visit ntl.racing. And while we're here, I got to tell you about Glatt Hair Restoration, now under the direction of Dr. Morgenstern at the Morgenstern Center. Glatt Hair Restoration, if you've been listening to John Marks for any amount of time, you know the great work they've done for him. Now, me personally, maybe I don't need the hair restoration, but you know what they can also thicken up? Is that beard. They can even do beards. Now, I would love to have one like Steve. I can get the stash, but maybe I could use a little on the sides as well. But with the Glatt Hair Restoration, you get the same peerless approach, same expert team, same unmatched Glatt system, same state-of-the-art location, and the same stellar results, now under the direction of Dr. Morgenstern. Bald is now optional. If you want to improve how you look and how you feel about yourself, Glatt Hair is the right treatment for you. Regain your confidence. Visit glatthairmctr.com or call 610-980-4000 to get started today. All right, Steve, let's talk about something good, because there were some fun things that happened tonight.
It ended up being a fun game.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Starting with Scott Laughton and the fourth line. I criticized the decision just because, like, Ryan Poehling especially, but the fourth line just has not looked nearly as effective as it did last year. The Poehling, Cates, Hathaway, that sort of grouping. But tonight, it's Poehling, it's Hathaway, and it's Laughton. First shift, they come out, they get caved in right away. But
of course.
But from there, Scott Laughton scores a pair of goals. It's really fun. He has that great wraparound, and then he just absolutely shelves one over Grubauer. I don't know how he did it. He's been good on those, like, in close, where you just kind of got to flick it up into the top of the net in the past. But I was happy to see this the fourth line get on the board. A little 5-on-5 action. We've seen a ton of power play goals. Fun to say, but nice to see them score in other situations. What'd you think of the fourth line tonight?
Fourth line was a lot of fun. I can't believe I'm saying that, but, like, it looked like Poehling, I don't know if he got confidence back or speed or whatever, because he looked a lot faster out there tonight, and he was moving with a purpose that he really didn't have in those first few games. Scott Laughton, though, is the player of the game. I mean, he had 3 points, 2 goals, 1 assist, and that second goal, man, it was awesome. It was great to see. They were all moving better than they have all season, and, you know, Scott Laughton is a guy who, I don't know, every couple weeks he pulls out a game like this, and it was almost exactly what they needed tonight, you know? So the fourth line, A+ review, the only line that gets a pass from me tonight.
Yeah, that's, I think everyone needed to be a lot better, starting with our favorite guys, quite honestly. Matvei Michkov ends up with an assist on the fourth goal to make it 5-4, and it was a really good battle. Morgan Frost gets tossed out of the face-off, which has been a real issue. Power play face-offs are like this power play could be operating at like 50% if they could win a freaking face-off.
Yeah.
But Mish gets in there, and good battle, tie up, and he ends up getting credited with assists. Jamie Drysdale finds a lane, puts it in the net. Good to see Drysdale get on the board as well.
A great shot from Drysdale there.
But
the defense from Drysdale was terrible again.
It was rough. But like the Michkov line, didn't see much out of them until the third period. Owen Tippett was, again, all over the place, but so were his shots. That's really okay. So he ends up, Owen Tippett, I have him at 8, 12, 16 attempts, 16 shot attempts,
16 attempts, a Bobby Clark number of attempts.
Yeah, 4 shots on net, 8 attempts blocked, and 4 more misses. A quarter of your shot attempts are hitting the net. He came in 9 of his 21 attempts had hit the net. That percentage going way down after tonight. He's everywhere, and he's creating the shots, and that's great. But if they're not getting there, like 8 blocked tonight, they only had 19 shots blocked. That means 8 of his attempts and 11 for the other 20 guys got blocked.
Wild. Well, especially if you're a goal scorer, like we need you to score goals, my guy. Like we have a few more goal scorers than we have in year past this year. Like Michkov obviously is up there. TK pots a lot of goals, but Tippett's got to be one of your main goal scorers. Like the guy has the capability. We've seen him go in these runs, but when he's cold, he is cold.
Yeah, it's crazy because there's a lot of the time last year, I thought when he looked good, he scored and he would take over a period. He could take over a game. He was a guy, he was inconsistent, but when you noticed him, things were going really well. This year, he started out, yeah, man, like he's noticeable. It's not as if he's disappeared. He's not, oh man, is Tippett even playing? Because I thought we said that too much last year in the games where he didn't have an impact. But you have to get it on net. It's Philip Grubauer.
He looked terrible, by the way. Grubauer was horrible. It's honestly, if Ersson starts that game, that's an easy Flyers win because Grubauer stunk.
Grubauer got away with a few rebounds where guys were just inches away, hopped over their sticks, whatever. And Seattle just, they dominated that second period. What the hell happened in the second period? Like, dude, that is my question here.
2 nights in a row, because Edmonton, they died in the second period too. They were horrible in the second period there too. And they got lucky in Edmonton because they hit a lot of posts in that period. Yes. And Edmonton, frankly, like destroyed them. And they have but the thing is, Edmonton's a team that frankly should destroy you because they have 2 of the best players in the world, right? Who the hell is on the Seattle Kraken? I was doing the preview for this week and I was going down the roster and I try to do like key players from each team. And I'm like, who the hell's a key player on the Seattle Kraken? Like, give me a break. So to get smoked in the second period the way they did was, honestly, it was hilarious. And like when Shane Wright scored, so what was it? I think I noted it was 3 goals in 3 minutes. And then Eberle scored at 17:44 and then Wright at 17:52. Just a complete comedy of errors right there. The Eberle goal, that's one of the few I wouldn't necessarily put on Fedotov because like that was a ridiculous 2-on-1 that might as well have been a 2-on-0. But the right goal was terrible. Like that's where you really need your goaltender to be at least like replacement level. And no.
And that's listen, I will absolutely like majority of blame for tonight goes on Ivan Fedotov. This team defensively, however, is bad. Like the defense they're not defending. Just a lot of the time tonight, I was just like, who, like that 2-on-1 that you said might as well have been a 2-on-0. Who's Sanheim have? Like he has neither the shooter nor the pass option. He's just kind of there, not putting up any sort of resistance or creating a challenge for them to be able to make that play. And it's not the only defensive failure of the night by far. Again, Fedotov flat out sucked. You're not winning that game, but you could have had a chance if you just tighten up a little defensively.
Just a little bit tightened up. And like, I can't believe we haven't seen Andre once since they called him up because Eric Johnson is just so slow at this point. I can't believe I can't wait for Nick Seeler to come back. Like I have always thought Nick Seeler is one of the most like mid defensemen I've ever seen, but mid is like, because he's a steady Eddie guy. He's just like, I play good defense and that is what I do. I am Nick Seeler. And I can't wait to see that I play good defense in there because one guy playing good defense would make a huge difference.
It would be a 100% improvement over who played good defense tonight. I'll tell you that. Yeah. And that was Kelly and I were laughing about this on what's today? It was
Thursday into Friday.
So Wednesday's show, Kelly and I were just laughing like the narrative, like our feelings about Nick Seeler and how they have changed over the last 2 years. I don't know if anyone has ever rebounded this way to a point where it's like, man, we need this freaking guy back. He's the key to the whole defense. And I will say, like, they say his number one, other than like the toughness, the camaraderie, like all this culture stuff, his number one trait is the D partner knows where he's going to be. And it's not like Eric Johnson's some wild card out there, but
Oh,
he's
you
also
never know.
yeah, he's
They
also
call him the rover
just
out there.
yeah, he's also just not that good anymore.
No, and like that's a guy who like I understand his role here. He's the
Yeah.
extra man in the box. He's the guy in the locker room saying, "Hey, I've been there. I've won. Let's, this is how you do stuff the right way." I get it. But like seeing him every night right now to start the season is rough. And you know where he's going to be, but it's not somewhere good.
No, that's
The thing is, like Sealer, and here's the thing that Sealer does that I yell about Risto not doing all the time. Sealer, it will actually clear the crease. Sealer
yeah.
will make room for the goaltender, and that's what I miss from Sealer is like that ability to just make room.
No, they absolutely need some sort of physical presence in the defensive zone right now because there's just nobody. Yeah, there's nobody clearing the crease, nobody creating that room. Hopefully, we see Nick Sealer back for Saturday's home opener, and maybe you're thinking, I got to attend that home opener. I need to see Matvei Michkov up close. I need to see Jet Luchenko up close. I need to see Sam Ersson play goalie because it'll make me feel good after watching that last game. Well, then you should do it with our friends at Game Time, baby. And Game Time has a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets for your favorite live events even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. Use that Game Time Picks feature and you'll find the best deals for the best seats every single time. And guess what? All the other features that made Game Time great, they haven't gone anywhere. The all-in pricing, where you can toggle on this feature to show the total up front. No surprises when you get to checkout. The seat view, no surprise when you get to the game. You'll know where you're sitting. You'll know what the view is. Lowest price guarantee. Game Time credits you 110% of the difference if you find tickets in the same section or row for less. And Game Time ticket coverage. Your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service in the ticketing industry. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code PHLY for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code PHLY for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? It's game time, baby. And once you get to that game, maybe you want to have a little action on it. Well, that's where our presenting sponsor, Bet365, comes in. Steve, he took that over tonight. He was real smart. That's great. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. And I'm looking for some inordinary performances. Maybe we're going to bet on Saturday Owen Tippett to score 2 again because he's got to eventually. Someone's going to. And it'll be a 4th straight game with the Flyers having a multi-goal scorer. Maybe it's time. But I love Bet365 for the early payout offers across the NBA, NFL, NHL, and Major League Baseball. For hockey, for instance, Flyers go up 3. Boom. If you've taken them on the money line, you've already won. So, maybe you're at one of these late games. You want to get to bed. Well, if your team goes up 3, you won. Doesn't matter what the team does. Download the Bet365 app. It's my favorite sports book. It's my sports book of choice, and it is our presenting sponsor for each and every live show. Download the Bet365 app and use code PHLY365 when you sign up to get $200 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 or older and physically located in Pennsylvania. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. All right, Steve. We're waiting on Charlie. It'll be just another couple of minutes for him.
Oh, baby.
Is there anything that can save can you see Fedotov coming back around?
I'm having some trouble with it, man. And I'm one of those people who I really like to find a silver lining wherever I can. And I'm not finding it right now. Like he just looks like he's a mess. Like I don't see the mechanics there. I don't see the confidence. That look he gave when he was just like staring far away. I didn't like that at all.
No, there's just very little to like about his game right now. It's way off, and I'm hoping we're able to at least give Sam Ersson like a fair shot at a normal schedule after the way he was used last year. But
Please.
they're going to have to make some decisions, maybe sooner than they want to. It's rough out there right now. Who else stood out to you tonight, either positively or negatively?
Oh my God. That's such a tough call. Like, I mean, I don't know who really was that positive besides the fourth line. Like, I loved what I saw from, you know, like Scott Laughton and them, but like, I mean, Drysdale had a goal, Cam York had a goal, so it was nice to see them get on the board offensively. I'd like to see more from that. They had some decent power play movement at times. I saw Jet have a couple nice plays sometimes, but you know, he's up and down. He's an 18-year-old setter. He can only
Couple
do
more
so
chances
much.
for Jet tonight. He seems to be getting more involved. He got the great check of the game, and it was a pretty nice hit. I
It was
like
a
that
nice hit. He uses that size well for what he has, and
I,
he's not a big guy, but he uses it well.
Yeah, I mean, he's like 5'10", 5'11", 190. He's definitely not small, especially for a
No.
dude who's freshly 18, and we know that work ethic, so he's going to put on some more weight at some point. And I'm looking forward to seeing what he can become. He's getting close. He's creating some chances for himself. There wasn't a ton of like 5-on-5 time or anything at the end, but there was a shift where Luchenko was out there with Michkov, and I was like, well, this is a reason to watch the third right here before they actually made it interesting. I would like to see maybe a little bit more of that. And someone we're all looking forward to seeing, it's Philadelphia's #1 hockey beat reporter. It is Charlie O'Connor coming to us live from the Climate Pledge Arena in Seattle. I can talk tonight.
You got this. Yeah.
Charlie, how you doing?
Doing okay.
What's up, Charlie?
Little bit of a weird game. I'm curious to hear what your guys' thoughts were on it. So it was a strange one.
It was really strange. It was another shot. This whole trip, I mean, it's the Flyers. Nothing's ever normal, but this trip has been pretty odd. We have to start with Ivan Fedotov. He is the #1 story tonight, Chuck. Listen, I thought, especially a couple of the second period goals late, it was like the defense is nowhere to be found. But I mean, 2 distant shots that beat him 5-hole, a rebound that I'm not even calling a rebound. It was a fumble. Like, he had it and then dropped it. It didn't bounce off of him. Oh, his leash is going to be longer than 2 games, but do you even see anything to build on for Fedotov?
This was a worse game than game 1.
Yeah.
So if you're asking, do I see anything to build on? Not really, because I did see things that he could build on in game 1. And by game 1, I mean game 2, the second game of the year. I thought there were things in game 2 that he could build on. Yeah, you know, he didn't get off to the greatest start, gives up a weak goal in the second goal of that game. But then I thought in the second half, it was pretty good. Made some big stops, you know, had some athletic saves, used his size well. And I thought, okay, not the greatest debut, but there's something to build on. This is one where, let me put it this way. If Fedotov was an established NHL goalie that we knew was good, I would say throw this one in the trash, never think about it again. It was just a bad game. The problem is that he doesn't have an established track record of us knowing he's an NHL caliber goalie. So you can't really say just throw it in the trash, because like this could just be him. We don't know. We don't have any track record to judge him on other than what we've seen him in. And really, aside from that one game he came in relief, the very first game at the end of last season, this is more or less who he's been. Now, this was probably his worst of, I would say. Well, there was that one game last year that was real bad, the one game he started. So maybe it wasn't quite that bad. But I agree. I agree that the fourth and fifth goals, I don't think you can put on him. The fourth one is pretty much unstoppable. You know, maybe he could have, you know, anticipated the pass, but whatever. And the fifth goal, the whole team just went controller disconnected because they were frustrated with how the last one happened. But the first 3 goals he allows, you have the first 2 are distant shots, especially the first one. Like the second one, if I'm feeling really charitable, I can say Risto probably should have blocked that one. You know, maybe it surprised him a little bit because like that really shouldn't have gotten through. The first one, I don't know how the heck he lets that Montour shot through. Second one also should have stopped, but okay, maybe Risto should have blocked it. Third one, that rebound Oh my God.
Uh,
Like you cannot allow that rebound. That is the one thing you can't do on that play, and he did it. And yes, 4th and 5th goal, not going to put on him, but you're already down 3-2. Like you're already losing because of your goalie, and that's like that's on him. That's on Fedotov.
Yeah, that was the first one. I was legitimately worried that he actually has a hole in him, and maybe there's some sort of medical issue that needs tending to, like having a giant hole in you, like you got shot with a shotgun. But you know, he seems physically okay, so I suppose we don't need to worry. Should he? That all said, like one, he needs reps, and just to figure out if this is him or whatever. And two, the entire idea was, even though it's not a back-to-back, well, tomorrow's a long travel day. They have to go all the way Seattle to Philly, and then the opener is Saturday night.
Right.
We want to give Ersson the rest. We want to have him sharp. Should Fedotov have stayed in?
Well, you know, if you're purely looking at it from a Saturday perspective, probably, because Ersson having to play some of this game probably does hurt him a little bit for Saturday, especially given tomorrow is going to be a full-on travel day. That said, they did come back and have a chance to win this game, and I don't think they even have a chance to win if if Fedotov stays in, because he probably gives up another couple weak goals and suddenly it's over. And I do think there is value. Like one thing that's interesting, and I do want to talk about this because it was an interesting comment that John Tortorella made, and this is maybe why, okay, even if it hurts Ersson a little bit, maybe this teaching moment in the third period will actually pay dividends, weeks, months, years down the road. Tortorella pointed out that when the Flyers are up 5-4 and they're pushing, they have that big pressure in the offensive zone, they're buzzing, looks like they might tie it, Jamie Drysdale makes a bad pinch. He makes a bad pinch. Cam York isn't ready for the pinch. They get the breakaway. They score the clinching goal. John Tortorella was critical of Jamie Drysdale after the game, but he said throughout camp, even into the season, I believe he even said it on that Hockey and Hounds interview series he does with Jason Martinez about Jamie Drysdale needs to learn how to play hockey, that there's so many things that he just needs to learn how to do. And one of those things is situational play. And knowing that that is not the time to make that aggressive of a pinch, because John Tortorella straight up said after the game, he's like, look, I know he's trying to make things happen, and I love that about him, but you didn't have to do it. We haven't pulled the goalie yet. There's another 5 minutes left in the game. Like, you can live to fight another day. We're buzzing. We got the momentum. You don't have to do it there. Drysdale does it. They get a breakaway. They score. What I'm getting to is that that's a teaching moment for Drysdale. And that's a teaching moment for Drysdale that hopefully down the road will pay dividends, where the next time that happens, he won't do that. He'll have a better understanding of the time and situation. If you keep Fedotov in this game, maybe he doesn't have the opportunity to get that teaching situation because Fedotov gives up another 2 or 3 weak goals. The Flyers never cut the lead to 1, and they're never in a high leverage situation for Drysdale to make that mistake that he hopefully can learn from. So I think that's why, even though I do agree that probably putting Fedotov in the third might have a negative effect for Saturday, maybe it was a good thing for them to fight back in the third, get close, show some fight, because they didn't show much fight after Konecny and Michkov take those hits. They show fight in the third. They get some life back. They have that scrum and that fight after the whistle. You're able to come away from this road trip feeling a bit better. Still not great, because this is a bummer of a loss, but you can feel a little bit better. Whereas if you keep Fedotov in, he gives up another 3 weak goals and you lose 7-2, then that flight back just sucks. Instead, you at least got something out of this game. So that's why I see where you're coming from, but I still think it was the right move to pull Fedotov, because you got something out of the third period because you put Ersson in, who can actually stop a puck.
Yeah, leaving Fedotov in makes it a fake game. Like, that makes it, like, I've talked so much about, like, when they're playing pointless minutes. I guess that makes pointless minutes, and at least there was something to look at. Like, okay, the third period film, why even look at it? It was nothing. Since you mentioned it, was there any talk amongst the players or from the coach about the lack of response to the what looked like a board on Mish and maybe a high hit on TK. Did anyone mention these things?
Not really. I think the general consensus from the players is that the third period was their pushback, and obviously they have that big scrum / fight. I if anything, I think that the TK one in particular, I think players were a little bit more concerned about Konecny than they were about like immediately fighting the other team. I think that, and I also just think that the life was kind of out of them at that point. That, you know, they were just so shell-shocked by how quickly the game spiraled out of control that's why there wasn't an immediate pushback the same way there was in Calgary when guys were taking runs to Jamie Drysdale. If I didn't see the third period, I didn't see them, you know, like, because clearly they got a talking to in that period, or they just talk to each other and are just like, this is unacceptable. We need more fight. If I didn't see that in the third, I'd be more concerned. Would it have been ideal if they would have, you know, challenge those guys immediately after the hits? Probably, but at least in the third they showed that they recognized that there was an issue and they dealt with it. So I don't come away particularly worried about that. It probably was something that people were complaining about on social media, I'm guessing, but probably because it's social media. But I do think the third period sort of it eased some of the concerns that I had about the lack of response, because I think the third period overall and that fight / scrum specifically show that they do still have fight and they do still care about each other.
All right, Charlie. Owen Tippett.
Okay.
16 shot attempts, 4 on net, 8 blocked, 4 misses.
William, he's doing it again.
This is 60, a quarter of your shot attempts are missing the net. He came in 9 for 21. His percentage is going to go way down after this. And granted, listen, it's 4 games. It has been a really weird start to the season with the way these games have played out, the trip itself, all of it. But what the hell? Why can't Owen Tippett find the net with a GPS?
I think the weird part is this is the exact same thing that happened at the start of last season. Like, and I've said on this show, I've said that when you look at his full season numbers at the end of last year, he's not especially inaccurate. Like, he misses the net a lot, but that's because he shoots a lot. However, at the start of last season, it wasn't just that. He was missing the net at a high percentage too. And he's doing the exact same thing this year. We talked to John Tortorella about it after practice today, after morning skate, and he basically said, look, we talk to him about it all the time. He misses the net too much. It's a focus. And Torts is just like, I think we're just going to have to deal with it, that like for stretches, he's going to go through periods of time where he just can't hit the net. And clearly to start this season, just like to start last season, it's just something we're dealing with right now.
You fellas just don't understand. Owen Tippett's a gunslinger, and you just got to let him fire away.
No, it really is like the Brett Favre of like, yeah, man.
That's what I was going for.
Sometimes he's going to have a season with 26 interceptions. Like but he's going to have 50 touchdowns. So I guess you just have
to deal with it.
Yeah, like,
exactly.
I've never seen anything like this. 16 attempps, 4 on net. That has to be some kind of record.
You have to calibrate your Owen Tippett before you use it.
Was Charlie, I don't want to keep you too long. It's the end of a long trip. We all just want to get the hell out of here. I actually am impressed because it seemed after the second period, this was getaway day for the Flyers, and they did fight back. So I am impressed with that. Was there anything really funny, or were there any good Torts lines tonight, or anything that really caught your eye?
Not really. I did think it was interesting. So I specifically asked John Tortorella about Fedotov, and Tortorella's response was, I'm not going to talk about Feds right now. So, I mean, he didn't throw him under the bus. Like, he made it clear that, like, he wasn't going to do that. Yeah. But, like, after game 1, when he was asked about Fedotov, he was like, I think for the first game, he was okay. After this game, it was basically no comment.
It's knowing yourself. Like, if I say anything, I'm going to have to apologize tomorrow.
Exactly.
And I don't want to have to do that again. So, you know what? We're just not going to talk. And
we're just not going to say anything.
I appreciate the maturity from a coach who can be, like, for someone who has to really try to think about what he's saying sometimes, I appreciate someone having the restraint, quite honestly. Do we even want to do 3 stars tonight, Charlie?
Yeah, I could do 3 stars.
You should muster some stars.
It's time for Charlie O'Connor's 3 stars of the game. Let's start with star number 3.
Star number 3, I'm going to go with Scott Laughton because, you know what? He scored 2 goals. He had a great first period. Honestly, that line was good. for the game. That fourth line had a good game.
Of course they were. I criticized the decision to start them. And so everyone on social media, oh, that aged well. I'm like, well, their first shift, they got hemmed in immediately. So, yeah. But then they scored a bunch of goals.
I mean, when your team scores 4 goals and you give up 6 goals and you still come out +3, you had a pretty good game.
Pretty good game.
I would say I'll give that one to Scott Laughton. Second star, I think, and this is tough because the weird part about this game for the Kraken is that while the Kraken very much deserved to win this game, and let's make this clear. I know we spent a lot of time talking about Ivan Fedotov, and he was not good. The Flyers did not deserve to win this game. The Kraken were the better team. They outshot them. They outchanced them. This was a deserved loss. It was just also Ivan Fedotov wasn't good. That said, it wasn't like there was any one guy on the Kraken that was great. It was just that everyone was good, which is kind of their MO. Like even Ryan Poehling said after the game, like they're just an all-around solid team. And that's exactly what they were. So it makes it a little bit tough to pick out individual guys. I will go with Eeli Tolvanen. Even though the goal he got was cheap because of the awful rebounds, he led the team, I believe, in expected goals for percentage of 5-on-5. I thought he was impactful pretty much all game long. I thought he just looked quick. He looked engaged. And then to me, that goal was less about like, yes, he got lucky, but it's kind of like you earn your own luck. He was having a good game and he gets rewarded for his good game by getting a gift goal. So I'll give Eeli Tolvanen my number 2 star.
His revenge for the 2017 draft, where the Flyers passed on him despite his name showing up on the screen when they actually drafted Morgan Frost. All right. And star number 1, Chuck.
Star number 1. I mean, and again, this is more or less just a stand-in for the entire team. But I'll go Jared McCann. I mean, he's obviously one of their best players. He's finished with a goal, 3 points or 2 assists. Jared McCann, first star. But again, this is more like first star is just the Kraken. Unless you want to be mean and say first star was Ivan Fedotov for the Kraken.
He gets points in the Toyota standings, but for Seattle. All right.
Right.
All right, Charlie. I will talk to you. Oh, Saturday. Post game, I will see you then.
I'm off on Saturday, so no, you will not talk to me on
Saturday.
You're
off Saturday.
Going to a wedding.
Got to find someone else, I guess. All right, Charlie. All right. I'll talk to you Monday then, or whenever the hell we're doing our show next. Have a safe flight home. Enjoy that wedding. You've certainly earned it, my friend. That is Philadelphia's number 1 hockey beat writer, Charlie O'Connor, coming to us live from Seattle after the Flyers wrap up their road trip with a 6-4 loss to the Kraken. And before we wrap up tonight's show, I got to tell you about our friends at Empire. That's right. Empire today, 1-800-588-2300. Empire today. With Empire today, you get that shop at home convenience, the right product for your needs, quick and professional installation, and a price match guarantee. Empire today, we know they're the best place for new flooring, so they're going to have copycats. But what those copycats can't do is beat Empire on quality, service, or speed. So they advertise low-quality products that Empire just simply won't carry because Empire won't promise the lowest prices. Anyone who does, they're just putting flooring in your home that they wouldn't put in their own. The Empire philosophy is to help you find what you need and not overwhelm you with thousands of choices and substitutes. What they leave out of their selection is as important as what they put in. Empire's product team exhaustively combs through thousands of product samples each year to find the perfect styles, and you can see them in your room with the virtual floor designer. All you have to do is snap a picture and instantly see how the new floors will look in your home. So schedule a free in-home estimate today, and all listeners can receive a $350 off discount when they use promo code PHLY. Restrictions apply. See empiretoday.com/PHLY for details. And while we're here, I got to tell you all about our Flyers Sweet Takeover coming up for the Ducks game. That's right, the Ducks game in January. I believe it's the 23rd. I don't have the date in front of me. I probably should. But you got to go to allphly.com right now. Diehards get a special discount. It's only open to diehards right now, but it will be available to the public in just a few days. So make sure you keep an eye on that. This is going to be a ton of fun. It's Cutter Gauthier coming to Philly. If he's not like demoted to the AHL or benched by then, we don't know. Maybe he's a healthy scratch. Couldn't play for that mean old Torts, but doesn't be going too well for him in Anaheim. But
Bill, for the record, the game is the 11th.
The 11th. I was way off then.
Samsonite.
Anyway, yeah, you're going to want to check this out. It's going to be a great time, whether Cutter plays or not. Is it even funnier if he doesn't? Go to allphly.com and make sure you bookmark that events tab, because we always have fun stuff going on here at PHLY. All right, only a few minutes left. Sweet Takeover is January 11th. It is not the 23rd.
Whatever. It's in January. We got time to plan it out.
Go to the website and the date will be there for you.
There, we have a BSH guy who always asks for the schedule, and it's like, guy, the schedule's readily available on NHL.flyers.com. Come on. I would like to mention one thing that I didn't mention yet, and Charlie had made him his first star of the game, but that was McCann. And I just want to say, I don't miss that guy being in our division at all, because what a pain in the butt that dude was with the Penguins. And I was so happy when he got taken, when they traded him to the Maple Leafs just to be taken in the expansion draft. So happy, because that guy is so good. That's one guy on the Kraken I'll give a lot of credit to. He is super good. I don't miss him.
No, when you look at, and this isn't a Penguins show, but the Flyers lost 6-4 and it was an ugly game. When you look at what's the matter with Pittsburgh, it's so many of those good depth players have just gone away over the years, and suddenly they're not the same team. Crosby still rocks. It looks like Malkin's off to a good start this year, and it's they just don't have that same depth that they did in years past. I mean, you go back to the Cup years with the HBK line, you need that kind of depth, especially in the playoffs. I always say third lines win you cups, because you get to the Final Four, you get to the Cup final. Chances are, I bet you the other team has a real great first line, real great first pair. Bet you the second line is a typical first line, And then how do you match up in the bottom six? Can you win those matchups? Can your third line, fourth line take a shift on the road against the other team's top line and maybe not even hold their own, but score a goal themselves? That's the kind of stuff it takes to win a Stanley Cup. I am hoping the Flyers have that kind of depth, Steve. They have.
I think we're on the way. We're on the way.
They have pieces. The center position, though, needs so much addressing. And
have we tried Nick Deslauriers at center yet?
Honestly, after that face-off tie-up tonight, I'm maybe Mish is the center. Maybe he's the guy.
Honestly, he's the best player on the team. You might as well just make him the center too, and then he can
see what happens.
Put that C on him, make it all. No, he doesn't need that pressure yet. Just let Coots do that.
Yeah, we don't need to do that.
Let Coots do that. Who cares about the C? He can wear it. It's like wearing a jersey with a C on it, but whatever.
One thing Michkov did do tonight is extend that point streak. He got another one. Gets credited with the assist on Jamie Drysdale's goal. That was a power play. He hasn't scored 5-on-5 yet, but 3 straight.
Let's make this a big deal. Let's really blow this out of proportion.
What was it with Giroux the one year? He didn't have an even strength goal at home for
oh my God. That was one of the most exhausting stories I can remember. That just went on forever. I think I was at the game too, where he finally, because I think that was I think it was one of the shortened seasons or after one of them around that period. And it was a relief, but it didn't need to be. I didn't care.
No, it wasn't something he's leading the team in scoring. It was just he's a setup guy, and everyone stinks, so it makes sense.
Right.
What is everyone else doing?
He's setting up those bowling pins. It's not his fault they're not getting knocked down.
Let's put that sort of pressure on Mish already. Let's make him the captain, make him number 1 center, all that stuff.
Yeah.
All right. Let's hit these super chats before we get out of here tonight. We're going to start with Lane Cabellin. Deslauriers now obsolete after these recent fights. Honestly, I very much expect Nick Deslauriers to find his way into this lineup. It's tough now. With the fourth line finally had a good game. I was oh yeah, Deslauriers home opener. They want their heavyweight in there. The people want the fights. They know it's an entertainment product. But now the fourth line actually looks good for the first time this season.
I think the biggest problem also with Deslauriers breaking into the lineup is the presence of Jet Luchenko, because you have Luchenko and Cates ahead of him in line, and it's hard to justify playing somebody like Deslauriers, whose entire role is to just be a bruiser.
Yeah, and I guess he still has a little bit in him to throw some hits, but he's at the point now where he's not keeping up with play. Like, I don't know if he can get in on the forecheck like he did earlier in his career and like create room out there. It's pretty much only a fighter. Like, that is his role at this point. But he should be well rested when he gets in there. Do you think he plays on Saturday?
I'm going to say no right now, but I'm prepared to be wrong.
I'll tell you what's going to happen. It ain't going to be, it ain't going to be like, it's not going to be Laughton. It's not going to be Cates. It's not going to be Paling. It's going to be Coots.
Sean, what was the time on ice tonight?
Do you think they scratched the captain in the home opener? Let's see. Coots played 13:31. Doesn't look like there was a ton of guys in the 10 and low teens. It's really like Michkov played 21:54. Frost played 2018. Tippett played 2012. And no one else was above like 16 some. It was pretty heavy on the top line and pretty even amongst the other three lines. Like TK, he serves the fighting minor or the fighting major and gets hurt.
Yeah.
He played 15-23. He's the only other guy that you can make a case for, I guess. But the game was so weird again. Lots of special teams play, all that stuff.
So weird.
That
One of the
the ice
games.
time is just kind of oddly distributed once again. All right, let's hit this next super chat. Another one from Lane. Hopefully Fedotov improves, but team defense plays differently when he's in net, blows coverage and collapse because they don't trust he will make the save. No, that was as much as I was like, just make Fedotov wear this and keep him in for the third. It was a different team, and I don't know for how long they can justify playing him if this, like, he's got a save percentage in the 700s.
700 is terrible. And again, like, Seattle's such a weird team depth wise, but like Calgary's a team. Calgary's off to a hot start too. I don't know. He looks terrible though. He just doesn't look like he has any confidence out there at all. And he just looks out of place.
Yeah, I just don't know what can be done about this problem right now. You have him signed to the deal. He's got a year after this one. He is, like we said, waiver exempt simply because ain't no one claiming him at that price. So you could, if he's willing, I guess, send him down to the AHL to work on some things. And I suppose hope Kolosov can hold his own at this level, but part of the
not Antoniemi.
Yeah, like part of the issue with Kolosov seemed like we don't think you're ready for the NHL, and he wants to play in the NHL or in Russia.
And his first start in Lehigh Valley was not good.
It seemed like he was all right, but like I didn't watch it. Just the numbers.
I'm hearing this from other people, but
Okay.
I didn't hear great things about it.
All right.
Yeah, I didn't drive up to Lehigh Valley. Sorry.
Yeah, he's clearly
bring him back to South Philly.
At his age, like, not a finished product. This is his first time in North America.
Right.
Like,
and that's what Charlie was talking about. And I totally agree with that. It's like, this is like all we've seen of him. This is all we know. And it's kind of terrifying. And he's 27, 28 years old. Like, I don't think he's going to learn and grow from here. Like, we're talking about Michkov and Luchenko. Like, yeah, these dudes are in their teens. Like, they're learn and grow a bunch. It's unlimited potential. But Fedotov is like, this might just be who he is. So it might be bye-bye now.
Yeah, like, that's the like, Luchenko is a senior in high school. Like, that's how old
Yeah. And he should be catching Pokemon. Like, what's going on?
There's a big difference between these players and what their ages are. Fedotov, like, I guess he could improve and figure some things out, but it's a big jump in a short amount of time. Like,
he can't even be on his parents' health insurance anymore.
Exactly. Like, we are talking about a guy who needs to improve 420% for there to be any sort of like future for him. He looks so bad. All right, and we have one more super
420%, by the way. Quite a number you picked there.
It really is. And from Adam S, no response after TK and Michkov get drilled. Are the Flyers getting soft? I think, like Charlie said, I think the TK one was just kind of concern. Like, you see the helmet come off, he's shaking up. the Mish one, he's in there alone. And I didn't really realize fully what happened in real time. I think the idea that the third period and then just push back and making it a real game after that embarrassing second period was enough. I would like to see somebody on Seattle get laid out at some point, though.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The one guy. So who are the guys in the lineup that could realistically do it? Because the only guy I can really think of is like Hathaway.
Yeah, it just has to be. I mean, we've seen Couturier, we've seen Farabee now, we've seen Forster. These aren't guys you want fighting, but that's the thing. Like, I remember hearing the stories of Toronto. I think it was last off season when they showed clips of Tampa Bay, and it was, this is their DNA, and it's not just like the Luke Shens of the world going after dudes. Like, it's Nikita Kucherov will grab you and punch you if something happens, and it's kind of just got to be an all-in sort of situation.
Not gonna lie, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but if I could swap out Risto for Luke Shen, I would do it in a heartbeat right now, because Luke Shen, I talked about this earlier in the BSH Slack, but like Luke Shen was a guy that we all complained about because he was slow as heck, but like the guy did the two things you really want from a big defenseman. He hit dudes really friggin' hard, and he fought guys like crazy. So, you know, I wish our 6'4" defenseman would do that, but I've given up on that. But like, that's the guy, like that's the kind of guy who should be doing that. And Sealer's certainly a guy when he's back in the lineup who will give a big response. I can't believe this. Nick Sealer, man, is the Flyer I miss the most. He blocks shots, so he'd help Fedotov there because he can make half the saves for him, and he will hit guys and he'll fight guys. Yeah, Nick Sealer, perfect.
All right, we have one more super chat before we wrap up, again from Adam S. You always go after their star players in response.
Who's the star player on this team?
Yeah, that's the I would it's like Tolvainen. I guess Beniers and Shane
McCann.
Wright are the guys because they're their future.
Sure.
Yeah, but
yeah,
I would like to see some sort of response, but I will accept the answer that the third period in this instance was their response.
Yeah. And TK ended up kind of having to do his own fighting, which I think kind of sucks, to be honest. Like, not only does it suck because like he has to stand up for himself, but also like he is one of your 2-3 best players on the team easily.
Yeah.
So like he shouldn't have to somebody else should be doing it. Okay.
Yeah.
Preferably somebody on the fourth line or a defenseman.
Someone who doesn't score 30 goals a year needs to say, I'll be the one who gets punched. You know,
what if we just get Fedotov like super jacked? Okay.
We turn him into an enforcer.
We turn him into an enforcer. I think it works beautifully.
He couldn't be worse at that than he is at goaltending.
Yeah. Like,
all right, Steve.
Ivan Drago style. Let's do it.
Absolutely. Steve, I very much appreciate you once jumping in and co-hosting the post game with me. It's been a lot of fun these last couple of nights. I would love to be able to get you in for a win or maybe a show that just doesn't end, around 2 a.m.
I would love that as well. I've had a lot of fun, and I'd like to have fun where I won't lose a ton of sleep the next day.
That is all the time we have for you on PHLY Flyers Postgame. We have once again been brought to you by our friends at Bet365. Download the Bet365 app and use code PHLY365 when you sign up. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Make sure you're following us on YouTube right here on the YouTube page. Hit that reminder bell so you never miss a live show. We'll be back with pre and post game on Saturday. Make sure you're following us on Twitter at PHLY_Flyers and follow at Flyperbole. Throw Steve a follow. He's earned it these last couple of shows. And follow the podcast wherever you find those. Just search PHLY Flyers. That's it for us. My name's Bill Matz. That's Steve Jaco. Until Saturday, let's go Flyers.